Are you afraid of fire, the crackling blaze, the flickering shadows, the consuming hunger? And what about faces? You afraid of seeing or maybe even recognizing a face within that fire? Today we're going to look at faces and fire from all angles. So if you're afraid of either fire or faces, then this episode might not be for you. But don't worry, by the end of this episode, you'll have learned something new. So let's start with some folklore. In 1882, an Irish newspaper reported the following story. A farmer's wife was hanging out her clothes when she saw the apparition of a dead child. Then the ghost started walking towards the house, calling out for his mother. At first, the woman thought she was losing her mind, but then she began to see the ghost almost every day. One night, she woke up to hear the sound of footsteps coming up the stairs. Then she heard the ghost call out to her, "Good morning." She got out of bed to investigate, and there was the ghost again, standing right next to her. The ghost told the woman that she needed to move a shutter in order to let him rest in peace. She did so, and the ghost vanished. And then whenever she lit her oven, she would see the face of the little boy peering at her through the flames. Now before we go any further, let me just say it is perfectly normal to sometimes see faces in everyday things. It's called pareidolia, and it's when your brain takes an image and interprets it based on what it thinks it's seeing, rather than what it actually is. It's also worth noting that in the case of the farmer's wife, it could also be possible that she experienced a type of hysteria, now known as post-traumatic face-shaped hallucinations. After experiencing a traumatic event, the person may see the face of the victim everywhere around them. However, our story doesn't end there. The boy's ghost continued to appear to her long after she moved the shutter, but only when she had lit her oven. In another story, a woman had hung up her washing to dry when she was visited by a friend. While they were chatting, she pointed out how her friend looked exactly like one of her relatives who had died many years earlier. She tried to ignore the resemblance, but she couldn't help but notice that her friend also had the same mannerisms and even spoke in the same way as her relative. Just as she was starting to feel creeped out, her friend excused himself to go to the bathroom. When he went into the kitchen, he leaned over to take a closer look at the stove and noticed that the flames took the shape of a face. He turned to the woman and explained that he had been having visions of the relative and believed that the woman's home was haunted. They decided to leave together, but shortly after they stepped outside. The man stopped and told the woman that he needed to return inside because he had forgotten his keys. The woman didn't want to go back in, but she agreed to wait for him outside. When she heard the front door open, she turned to leave. But then she saw the man enter the house with a strange-looking object under his arm. She couldn't help but think that whatever he was holding looked exactly like the relative. The woman decided to wait a while longer, and when she finally looked again, the man was gone, and she was alone in the street.
Oh.
This brings us to an important point. Most people believe that a face in the fire is bad luck, but it isn't always the case. Sometimes these appearances are the ghosts of those who have passed on trying to speak to their loved ones. Other times it can mean that death is near. For example, in the legend of Jack Loitering, Jack has seen the face of death in the fire and knows that he will die soon. With legends come warnings, and people have come up with several ways to stop the face of death from appearing. So let us take a look at some fire safety tips to prevent a face from showing up in your fireplace. Salt is often used to keep evil spirits away, and this includes keeping a small bowl of salt near your fire. By doing this, you're preventing the devil from being able to enter your home. Another method is to place a padlock on your fireplace when it's not in use. This is to prevent any evil spirits from entering your home. Other people used to have their friends stand behind the fire so that their shadow would unshow in the flames. Or if you're alone, you can place an object such as a candlestick or poker across the hearth to cast a shadow for you. We even found some evidence that women used to hang a strip of linen over the fireplace to catch the face of the fire and prevent it from appearing elsewhere. One of the most popular methods is placing a red-hot musket ball in your fireplace. Musket balls were originally used as a type of bullet during the 16th to mid-19th centuries. It was said that if you placed one in your fireplace overnight, then death would take the face of the musket ball instead of your own. No. In more recent history, people have taken to social media to share their own experiences with faces in the fire. Some of these stories are terrifying while others are completely harmless. For example, user Shaunanite posted this image on Reddit and asked for advice on how to get rid of the face in the fire. User Cornholio suggested building a bigger fire to burn away the face. Another user named Dimwitted mentioned using salt to keep evil spirits at bay. Other users joked that she should run away from home or invite death over to tea. This last one seems to be a common theme. Many people are inviting death over for tea, cookies, or dinner. So let's talk about why people are so comfortable with death, and why do they invite him over for tea? There's a morbid fascination humans have with death. We know that eventually we will all pass on, but we don't really know when that will be. This means that some people try to predict their date of death, or try to learn more about what happens afterwards. So let's find out where this morbid obsession came from. For thousands of years, ancient cultures have had beliefs and rituals surrounding death. For example, ancient Egyptians mummified their dead so that they would live again in the afterlife. During the Victorian period, it was common for people to keep the bodies of their dead loved ones for as long as possible. They also believed that death was not the end, and that the soul just moved on to a different plane of existence. This meant that people during the Victorian era held seances to try and communicate with their dead. We can still see evidence of this today with TV shows such as Ghost Adventures and Most Haunted. Humans love to learn more about the unknown, so when one of our greatest mysteries is revealed to us, we listen. If someone tells you that they've seen a face in the fire and managed to speak to their dead loved ones, then you may believe them. However, this brings us back to the original question. Is it bad luck to see a face in the fire? Well, we've covered the many reasons why you might see one, from pareidolia to PTSD. But remember, it doesn't always mean something bad. Sometimes it's just a coincidence and nothing more. Do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever seen a face in the fire? So share your thoughts below. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something new. Till next time, stay safe and don't forget to follow for more content.